This is a fake budget. It's a feel-good budget. It'll let us get paid budget. But what we're voting on is not going to be the budget. Now I understand we're up to maybe 90 trailer bills. Trailer bills for the purpose of implementing the provisions of the budget. They are not for major policy changes. But over many years, we've gotten in the habit, governors and legislators, of putting major policy. This budget creates a bunch of new agencies even. Now those are going to be base building. Those budgets are never going to get less for these, quote, new agencies that are going to do all these wonderful things. But we don't really know what they're voting on today. Yeah, we're voting a budget. Well, sure, does that pass muster? Yeah, I suppose it does. But it's kind of a fraud on the people to make them think, oh, look at all these wonderful things we're getting. Yeah, this year we have accrued extra revenues. That's wonderful. And as we do that, we should be prudent in terms of what we spend those on, to the best of our ability to retire debt. And we're not doing very much debt retirement here. And one particular part that I consider offensive, EDD, the most egregious agency almost in history of California. How many of our citizens have been aggrieved by that agency's remiss in inefficiency and incompetence over years? Well, we're going to help the businesses out a little bit, but over a decade. Gee, that's really great. They need help now. Why do we have to defer the impact on them and the citizens that we represent who have been harmed by that agency? Hopefully, in a bipartisan way, members are working together to have some drastic changes in the conduct of EDD. This legislature dare not adjourn without drastically changing statutorily the mission and conduct of that agency. We're not doing that here. And I would rather see that be done here. And we have no idea what the implementing so-called trailer bills are going to hold for us whenever we get around to doing them. And remember, we could still be doing trailer bills next year, implementing the provisions of this budget. I would argue, members, though there's a lot of revenue here to throw around, a lot of things that can be funded, but some things are huge ongoing obligations affecting future budgets, impacting future deficits. And do not forget what happened during the Davis administration. The Davis administration came in with a big surplus. And boy, did everybody spend. Even Republicans got their piece of the action with some give back to the voters. But what then happened? We increased the base budget. I believe it was 2 years later, we crowded our way into a $24 billion deficit and then a $45 billion deficit. I predict that that's where this budget is headed. 2 to 4 years out, huge deficits because of the built-in automatic obligations that we're funding here. And what a deceit to the motoring public, too. We had to raise the gas tax. We had to index it. DMV fees, everything had to be increased and indexed. Well, why don't we give the taxpayers a little break, the motoring public a little break, and reduce their burdens somewhat? Again, I would argue that this is worthy of a no vote, and we'll continue our discussion and have other questions. Madam Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to speak.